unknown sea creature. The lifeless body of the sea monster washed ashore in Georgia, USA. The strange creature was filmed on video during a marine reserve cruise by one of the tourists on the ship. The author of the video, an American named Jeff Warren, said he took the animal for a seal at first, but then their ship sailed closer. The passenger witnessed something resembling a Loch Ness monster, with its signature long neck and tiny head. At the moment, the true origin of the creature has not yet been established. However, the director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Dan Ash, noted that the decomposing body of a shark may resemble a plesiosaur, so it's possible that the newly discovered monster is just a semi-decomposed shark carcass. Honduras hospital ghost. This video appeared in the media a few years ago, but for certain reasons it was not widely distributed. Recently, however, it resurfaced. The video was shot by an employee of a Honduras hospital who elected to remain anonymous. First, you can hear eerie sounds coming from a side corridor, and then something yellowish and semi-blurred emerges. It is impossible to figure out what it is. Initially, the creature seems dense enough, but when it fully comes out of the corridor, it becomes almost transparent. Therefore, it's clearly not just a medical skeleton pulling on strings. According to one of the comments on this amazing video, various anomalies had been known to happen in these corridors before, including the lamps going out and lighting up by themselves, which really frightened the patients in the wards. As someone else mentioned, one of the doctors working in this hospital eventually took his own life. And so, subsequently, this gave rise to a new theory that the abnormal creature is probably his ghost. Rare natural phenomenon from Sochi. The city of Sochi is proud of the famous Krasnaya Polana, which is a modern village located in the Caucasus Mountains. Its centerpiece is the Rosa Khutor ski resort, which housed the Winter Olympic Games of 2014. It was in this village, or rather in the sky above it, where an amazing natural phenomenon was recently witnessed and proclaimed an actual miracle. According to the villagers and visitors who saw it, a weird cloud appeared out of the blue and a luminous pole formed between the cloud and the ground, a dazzling vortex of snowflakes. Fortunately, this incredibly rare phenomenon was filmed and uploaded online. Of course, it was a sensation that everyone began to speculate about, struggling to explain what they saw. One of the most probable theories is that this light pole is a natural optical effect that typically appears in sunset or sunrise. As it turns out, there are also lunar light poles. They always catch people off guard to amaze them with their fantastic beauty. Notably, the witnesses of this little miracle of nature that occurred over Krasnaya Polana claim that the video doesn't even convey a fifth of the fascination that they experienced. Sadly, no matter how far technology has progressed, modern smartphones still can't film nature perfectly and without distortion. Nevertheless, even this imperfect footage is stunning. Is it possible that a miracle really happened over at Krasnaya Polana? Cyclops. And in Thailand, in the province of Chachoengsao, a dog gave birth to a puppy with a rare genetic mutation. The mutant puppy was born with one eye in the middle of its head, huge lips, and a horn in the middle. The owners were worried about the puppy's health, but 2 days later they knew it was fine. It is still unknown whether the puppy can see with its only eye, as dogs need about 2 or 3 months to fully develop their eyesight. In any case, the puppy quickly became a local celebrity. Many considered the birth of the mutant a good sign and used its birth date in lottery tickets. The owner of the dog, and the good news is that the owners of the dog adore their unusual pet and take good care of it. Unknown object near SpaceX unit. On March 18 this year, a Falcon 9 rocket owned by SpaceX was launched from the Florida Space Center with Starlink satellites on board. The launch was accompanied by a video broadcast which captured a strange phenomenon. A UFO flew near the rocket at high speed when the first stage was separated. The object was moving up while the first stage was on its way down, which means it is unlikely to be the fairing or another part of the rocket. The UFO flew right next to the spacecraft but avoided collision. Strange creature from Costa Rica. Something amazing happened to a woman named Antonita Mora, who was foraging for some fruit to make juice. However, her usual trip to the wilderness took a strange turn. The woman was walking through the woods when she suddenly noticed something moving on one of the trees. It was a strange stick-shaped creature hiding in a tree branch. Terrified, Antonita still managed to film the outlandish animal with her phone camera. Wondering what manner of creature she had encountered, Mora shared her video in a Facebook community dedicated to Costa Rican insects, and soon the mystery was unraveled by a professional. The mysterious bug resembling a bundle of thorny twigs and slowly crawling along a tree branch was a species of cricket known as Markia espinaci. Their unique stick appearance is just a natural camouflage that protects them from predators. Return of the dolphins and swans. Curiously enough, coronavirus outbreaks have improved the ecology in some parts of the world, and dolphins have arrived in Venice for the first time in decades. Most likely, unfortunately, it will not last. But while Italy is closed for quarantine and tourism is temporarily dead, the inhabitants of Venice occasionally welcome special guests. The dolphins have not been witnessed in these parts for over 60 years. The Venetians believe it's all about water, which became cleaner after the lockdown. Now that there's no one to use water buses and motorboats, which pollute the channels, the ecology has improved. Incidentally, officials also note environmental improvements citywide. According to managing director of the Consortium for Managing Research Activities in the Venice Lagoon, the water is so pure and transparent because ships no longer cruise the canal. Thai monkey riot. Coronavirus has ushered in many other changes. But if inhabitants of Venice can boast some positive changes, the Thai people were not as lucky. They are now subject to an actual monkey invasion. The Thai city of Lopburi is home of thousands of wild monkeys which roam the streets and live in the ancient Buddhist temples. Annually, over 35 million foreigners visit Thai resorts. By the way, the tourism sector accounts for 20% of the kingdom's economy, and as you may have guessed, the animals used to be fed by tourists. Thanks to the large number of visitors, the monkeys never wanted for food. Now that the flow of tourists to Thailand has stopped, many wild monkeys starve. The citizens accustomed to the peaceful animals were shocked by their abnormal behavior and unprecedented ferocity. The monkeys are ready to tear anyone apart if they see food. They bunch up into huge troops and fight among each other over the tiniest morsels. According to witnesses, they look more like feral dogs than regular monkeys. Pigeon invasion. The situation is similar in Spain, where, according to local media reports, pigeons began to attack people carrying food. The locals are currently only allowed to go outside one by one due to quarantine, so this is a common occurrence in the streets and squares. A lonely person with dozens or hundreds of aggressive city birds surrounding them. While the birds used to be fed by the locals and tourists before the total quarantine, they go hungry now. As a result, entire flocks can chase the rare passers-by. They literally besiege people hoping to get some precious crumbs, so they've become an actual threat. Frozen bird. An American woman named Kyleen Bowman from the small town of Gallup, New Mexico, recently posted a mysterious video on her Facebook page. It captured a bird hovering in the air that didn't wave its wings, didn't float, and seemed to be stuck in the sky. The video, according to Kyleen, was filmed by her husband Jay, who was driving their daughter Lily to school that morning, when the girl noticed a strange bird in the air. The bird looked like a big black crow that had spread its wings mid-flight and remained pinned to the sky, sort of. Curiously, if you look closely, you can spot the strange crow moving its beak, so it seems to be alive, but